वाहेगुरु जी का खालसा, वाहेगुरु जी की फतेह. Khalsa ji, this is the third lecture where we are going to learn the third line of Gurmukhi letters. Please remember the 7 steps that we are going to discuss throughout all the letters that we are going to discuss today. The first step will be how to write the letter. The second step will be similar letters. The third step will be pronunciation. The fourth step will be sound of the letter. The fifth step will be examples. The sixth step will be wrong sounding words. The seventh and the last step will be writing the letter correctly. The 11th letter in Gurmukhi is Chacha. First step, how to write this letter. There are many ways to write this letter. The first way can be, first have the fifth letter of Gurmukhi, or you can say a J. Once we have haha, the fifth letter of Gurmukhi, what we are going to do is we are going to connect this with that, and then we are going to have a 0 here. So this is one of the ways to write the 11th letter, but it is not actually the correct way. I mean, it does not look like Chacha, the 11th letter of Gurmukhi. The second way is, first a line, then I am going to have a J. After that, I will do like this. There is another way in which people write this letter. A line first, then it should be something like this. You can do it in any way. You can do it in this way. You can do it in this way. It is a little bit weird, this one. So this is how you will write Chacha, the 11th letter of Gurmukhi. Second step. Are you going to learn any other letter if you know the 11th letter of Gurmukhi? And the answer is yes. You will learn 23rd letter of Gurmukhi if you know the 11th letter of Gurmukhi. Third step. How to pronounce this letter. You might have heard this word. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to get that ch sound from here. The other word that I'm going to use is charm. I will get this cha from here. I will repeat again. From chapati, I am going to get ch sound, and from charm, I am going to get the sound cha. So it will be cha cha. This will be the pronunciation of this letter. Cha cha. Cha cha. The fourth step, sound of the letter. If no symbol is attached to this letter, I'm going to get the sound of this letter as what I have here. It will give me the sound of j, like we have in chapati, right? From chapati, the sound of this letter will be ch. If we attach a symbol, it will change the sound of the letter. No symbol is attached, the sound will be ch. The fifth step, examples. I can have the same example here. Chapati. The ch sound here is the sound of this letter. So this letter, if I want this word, if I want to write in Gurmukhi, this word will be starting from this letter. Sixth step, wrong sounding words. If I am going to learn Gurmukhi and I'm trying to remember the sounds on the basis of the letters written here, it will be very confusing, or it will be very hard to write the word correctly in Punjabi. So if I remember it in this way, wherever I'm going to have a CH, there I have to have this letter. It will be wrong. We have an example. Chaos. Even though we have a CH here, it is not giving me the sound of ch, but the sound of k. So this word will not be starting from 11th letter of Gurmukhi. We say chaos, we do not say chaos, right? So it is all about the sounds. I have said it so many times. If you know the sounds, it will be very easy to remember Gurmukhi letters and how to use them. The other example that I can give is this word. Chauffeur. We do not say chauffeur. We say chauffeur. So again, the sound is not of ch, but the other letter that we will be discussing in some other lecture. So these are the two examples where the word is starting from ch, but we will not be using this letter to write the word. The seventh step, how to write it correctly. This is the correct way of writing. A line, this thing, the same that we discussed here. But this is, just remember, this is one of those letters. If you are reading a book or you're typing on your computer, this space will be filled. This is one of the letters that we discussed in the first lecture. The fourth letter of Gurmukhi. So we discussed the fourth letter, right? It was something like this. There, this space was filled. If you will look at, if you look in a book or if you are reading a newspaper. So the same thing is true for the 11th letter of Gurmukhi. This space will be filled if you check it on computer or any printed media. The 12th letter is cha-cha. First step, how to write this letter. I'm going to use 1, and then I will be using a C, then you can use an O, after that have a line here. This is how you will write the 12th letter of Gurmukhi. Let me repeat again. First a line, then I will have a 1, C, O, and then I will have a line here. Actually, it will not be an O completely, but in general, if I have to write it in the beginning of my course, you can say it will be good if we write it in this way with an O. But actually, it will not be an O. We will talk this in the 7th step. Second step, the similar letters. There are no similar letters. This is a unique word of Gurmukhi. Third step, pronunciation, and it is one of the you can say toughest letters to pronounce in Gurmukhi. The pronunciation of this letter will be cha, and there is no word that I can think of which can help me to write this letter. But if I have to write it, I will write something like this. Or you can replace it with S. Depends how you pronounce C and S actually. So it will be cha. It will be a little bit tough to to pronounce this letter correctly. You can remember how to write this letter, but pronunciation is a little tough. So let me say it again. The pronunciation of this letter will be cha, 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 cha. The fourth step, sound of the letter. The sound of the letter will be this sound, ch. C/H I can mention, and then HHA, ch. The sound will be ch. Fifth step, examples. We do not have any examples in English where we will be using this letter. But if you know any word, please let me know in the comment section below. The sixth step, wrong sounding word. This is again not possible. If we do not have anything here, we will not be having anything here. The seventh step, how to write it correctly. Oh, it gets completed very soon. That is cool actually. The seventh is okay, writing correctly. So let me rub this. The correct way of writing will be a line first, then 1. It will not be C like we mentioned here. It will be something like this. And then again we will have it like this. Then line here. So this thing here, it will not be a C, and this thing below will not be an O. But if you want to use C and O, it will be fine. People can understand it if I write it in this way, 1 C O line. People will understand it. But you should not get confused with this letter and this letter. You should not think that both the letters are different, because this here, let me write again, 1 this. This is same as this that we wrote. It is just a little pressed, you can say, a C. We have it like this. Apply some force from above and you will have it like this. So this is the 12th letter of Gurmukhi, cha, and we do not use this letter very often in our daily conversations, but this is an important letter if we are trying to talk to people. The 13th letter of Gurmukhi, Jajja. It is very cool. letter, you can say. Line this. First step, how to write it. A line will be used first. We'll get one from here. Then we will do something like this. Just try to have this thing. You will know how to write it. So it will be something like this. This, this. Once you have it, write 1, 1, 1. This will be your letter. 13th letter of Gurmukhi. If we know this letter, are we going to learn some other letters of Gurmukhi? And the answer is yes. The letter that we are going to learn is 39th letter of Gurmukhi, and if you look both the letters, the only difference will be the small dot. And again, both the letters are different. If I am having this letter here and I am having a dot here, this letter, both are different. If I'm going to use this letter, I cannot replace this letter with this letter and vice versa. And the pronunciation of this letter and this letter will be completely different. So just remember this thing, we are having 5 words in Gurmukhi which will be same, and the only difference will be the dot at the foot of the letter, you can say. That will be the last row of Gurmukhi letters. We will cover that up in the 8th lecture of Gurmukhi. This was the first step. Sorry, this was the second step. Oops, I wrote it here. I'm sorry. Third step is the pronunciation. We have this country, Japan. I will get this sound. The second word that I'm going to use is this one. Ja. It will be Jud, Ja. From Japan, I'm going to get J sound, and from Ja, I will get the sound of the whole word. Jud, Ja. So this is the pronunciation of this letter, 13th letter of Gurmukhi. The fourth step, sound of the letter. The sound of the letter will be, I am pretty sure you know what will be the sound. This will be the sound of the letter. Please remember the sound will not be Ja, but J. How we pronounce it here in Japan. If I'm saying Japan, then this will not be the sound. If I'm saying Japan, then this will be the sound. Remember this thing. Now comes examples. Example will definitely be this word here, Japan. Can we have the example of Ja? If again I'm going with the letters, here I'm having a J and an A. So I say, Japan will be the example for this letter. But if I'm talking about Ja, I'm having J and an A. Can I have the example of Ja? No, because to pronounce it as Ja, we have to have a symbol attached to this letter to change the sound of this letter, and we do not want to do it right now. If I am going to write Japan, how we are pronouncing it, then this letter will be used. Apart from J, can I have some other letter at the beginning which will be giving me the sound of J. Can I have that? And the answer is yes. So you might have remembered this word that we discussed in this letter, the eighth letter of Gurmukhi. So when we were talking about this letter, I said the sound will be something like we mentioned the words which were starting from G. There I said the word German will not be an example for this letter. And the reason behind that is this will give me the sound of G. But when we pronounce this word, we don't say German. No, we say German. It is giving me the sound of a J. That is why German will be an example for this letter, the 13th letter of Gurmukhi. The sixth step. It will not be completely true that all the words from J and G will be starting from this letter. No. So we have an example. The sixth step will be we do not pronounce this word as jackal. We say it heckle, a hut in Mexico, right? So this will be the example where the word is starting from a J, but it will not be starting from this letter. Seventh step, how to write this word correctly. The correct way will be how we wrote it. A line first, one, this thing. But if you, again, just so that you do not get confused with this letter and this letter. So this space that we have here, it will be filled if you are typing on a computer. But if you're writing an exam, it will be okay to write it in this way with space here. This was the 13th letter of Gurmukhi, Jajja. The 14th letter of Gurmukhi is Chajja. Before we know how to write this letter, I just want to say this. This is again a unique letter of Gurmukhi with its sound and pronunciation, words that we will be using. This is one of the letters that we discussed in the second lecture, like the 9th letter of Gurmukhi. The 9th letter of Gurmukhi was Kagga. There I said it was a unique letter in Punjabi. Mostly Punjabi people will be using these words. We will not be having any example in English. The same is true for the 14th letter of Gurmukhi. Not only it is limited to 9th letter, 14th letter, 19th letter also, and then 24th letter, and then 29th letter. You can just check all these letters are in different lines but in the same columns. So all these letters will be unique when we will be talking about pronunciation, sounds of the letters. Just remember this thing. How to write this letter. First, I will have a line Then I will have a 0. From here you can get a 0. Then I will bring 2, but I will not be using the 2 completely. I do not need the upper part. I need only the below part. So I will have it here. So this will be my chajja. It looks like 2, but it is not. So if we write it, it will be something like this. A 0 and then this. This thing will not be connected from the right side, but in the middle you can say. Otherwise it will be a 2, right? If I have a 0 here and this thing, it will look like a 2. So we do not want to have a 2, we want to have chajja. So I will have a 0, and then from here I will have the below part of 2. So this will be my 14th letter of Gurmukhi, chajja. Similar letter. Do we have any similar letters? If I know 14th letter of Gurmukhi, am I going to learn any other letter? And the answer is no. This is a unique letter, like we had the 12th letter of Gurmukhi. Third step, pronunciation. Again, I do not have any word for the pronunciation of this letter, but it will be something like this. Ch, then the word we used in the 13th letter of Gurmukhi, ja, ch, ja. This pronunciation, we might not have it in English, but if it is there, any word which will be sounding like ch, please let me know in the comment section below. This will be the sound of ch, then ja, ch, ja. This is how you will pronounce it. Fourth step, sound of the letter. The sound of the letter will be this thing, the one that we have here, ch, h, a. So different people will be pronouncing words differently, right? So it will not be cha, but cho. For this word, we have to pronounce it as cha, cha, ja. The pronunciation. The sound will be cha. Fifth is the examples. I do not have any examples if we are talking about words in English, but there is one of the states in India. It is Jharkhand. But most of the people, I mean, people who speak Hindi, they will be saying Jharkhand. We do not want to pronounce it as Jharkhand. If we are saying it in Punjabi, it will be char sound that we have here, or we can have a shortcut. Sorry, the sound that we have cha, then khand, Jharkhand. It should not be Jharkhand. If you say Jharkhand, it will not be the correct pronunciation in Punjabi. In Punjabi, we say Jharkhand with a little force, rather than Jha, just say Cha, Jharkhand. That will be the correct pronunciation. The sixth step is wrong sounding words. Again, I do not have an example for this. I just found this example by just sheer luck. For the sixth step, I do not have any example, but if you guys know, please let me know in the comment section below. Seventh step, how to write it correctly. What I said was, first have a line, a 0, and then a 2. But if you type on the computer, it will be something like this. First a line, instead of a 0, what we need to have is, we need to have something like this. Once we have that, then we will use 2. So it will be like this. This thing should be there that we were missing here. And second thing is this is not a 0. But most of the time, if I'm writing this letter, I will write it in this way, this thing in this way. So this is how you will write it correctly. A line first, instead of a 0, just have something like this, and then this thing. There is another way. First have a line. After having a line, just have this thing here, and then something like this. This is also how you can write this letter. So there are different ways to write this letter. So this was our 14th letter of Gurmukhi, Chajja. The last letter of the third line of Gurmukhi is Ngaiya. This is again one of the letters that we discussed in the second row of Gurmukhi. So let me have it here. I think you remember the 10th letter that we discussed. It was Nganga. What I said there was, we will not be having any word in Punjabi which will be starting from this letter. The same is true for this letter. There are few letters in Gurmukhi that we will not be using as a first letter in Punjabi. But when it comes to Gurmukhi, when it comes to Gurbani, we will be using all the letters at the first place, at the second place, at the third place, and so on. This is again a letter. If you are speaking Punjabi, you will not be using this letter. I have not heard anyone using this letter for years, I guess. Yeah. Only in 1 or 2 places we will be using that, and that will be at the second at the second position, you can say. Yeah. But at the first position we will not be using that, so it makes it a little tougher to pronounce it correctly. First step is how to write this letter. From the basics we will start. I will have a line, then I will get this 1, then I will have a C, I will have another C, and then I will have a line here. Simple, right? Writing is always simple. If you talk about Gurbani letters, all are very easy to write and to remember, but the pronunciation, sometimes it is difficult, sometimes it is easy. So let's write it again. I will have a line, then 1, I will have, let's share it. Yeah. Then I will have a C, again a C, then a line. So this will be Yaya. Similar letters. If I know this letter, am I going to learn any other letter? And the answer is yes. It is the 34th letter of Gurmukhi. Remember, we have 41 letters. This is the 34th letter of Gurmukhi. If I know Yaya, then I will know the 34th letter of Gurmukhi, how to write it. Third step, how to pronounce this letter. It is difficult. You cannot actually write with the letters, but I can pronounce it Yaya. Let me say it again. Yaya. 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 So this is the pronunciation of this letter. I know it is a little difficult, but I think you can master it if you listen to this thing again, or we can have a different lecture where we are going to learn the tough letters and how to pronounce it. The fourth is the sound of letter. The sound of letter will be ya. If I say ya, the sound will be the first part, ya. The fifth step, examples. Again, we do not have any examples if we talk about Punjabi, especially it will not be there in English and in Hindi, but even in Punjabi it is not there. But when it comes to Gurbani, we have this word. There is no symbol attached. So we will pronounce this word as yatan, not jatan. This is for those who know a little bit Punjabi. We will not pronounce it as jatan and we will not be pronouncing it as yatan. Both are wrong. This is a completely different letter and this is going to give you a completely different sound. So it will not be jatan, it will not be yatan, it will be nyatan. It is a little tough to master these words and they are very important if we are going to learn Gurbani. Please try to master the pronunciation of this letter, nyaya. Sixth step, wrong sounding words. We do not have them. Seventh step, how to write it correctly. So on the computer, if you look, it will be something like this. A line first, then a 1. Instead of a C, it will be something like this. And then it will be something like this. Then a line here. So this curve here and this curve here, they will not be same. Like we mentioned here, make a C and then again C. No, this curve and this curve will not be same. But in general, people will write it in this way, like we discussed, 1 C C and this. So this thing here, the 7th step, is always to tell you guys how it will be on a computer, how you will find this letter in a book or in a newspaper. So this was the 15th letter of Gurmukhi, Yanya. So just a brief of what we learned today. The 11th letter, Chacha. 12th letter, Chacha. 13th letter, Jaja. 14th letter, Chaja. 15th letter, Yanya. If you look at all these letters, you will find a line. I have a line here, a line here, line here, line here. I have a line here. All the letters in the third row of Gurmukhi will have a line at the top of the letter. So this was the third lecture of Gurmukhi alphabets. Please let me know if you have any doubts. वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह.